And welcome back to the Weekly Tech Round with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
And episode 217. And we've been digressing for the last 20 minutes before we hit record.
So we did start this half an hour ago, didn't we? But
we did. We got
we went on
sidetracked talking
sidetrack.
about graphics cards and all the good stuff. And I don't know. I can't decide between buying a 5070 Ti and a 3090, and it's driving me nuts.
Then you might not have to go with that. I don't know.
Oh gosh!
All the bits have to go with it.
No, don't. Well, anyway, this week, what do we got for you this week? Well, we're going to talk Epic Games again, and the Apple court case is rumbling on. And this time, well, let's be honest, you couldn't get crazier if you tried. But now Apple are invoking a Trump ruling to try and derail the case. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. Nvidia apparently has built backdoors into the H20 domestic chips designed for the Chinese market. TSMC reckon that somebody's been trying to steal the iPhone 18 chip process information, which is their 2nm process. Now, I'm going to stop now because we know it's not 2nm. It's all lies. It's not.
It is all lies.
Alongside that, we've got news on the iPhone Fold, which we're not going to put in the rumor mill this week because pretty much this iPhone Fold is got to be a real device, because now even financial analysts, aren't they, are talking about the pricing of what this could be. So I think we're pretty much guaranteed this is arriving, but not anytime soon. And then the rumor mill is back, and we're going to talk a couple of things on Apple Glasses Vision Pro 2 and AMD's rumored new high-end gaming GPU. But first, let's talk about this Epic Games update then on the ruling. The ruling about the appeal argument, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. There's a bit of an odd twist going on, isn't it? So this is the ongoing saga of Epic Games versus Apple on the App Store ruling, isn't it? And was it earlier in the year there was a ruling that basically said Apple couldn't charge basically anything, in the US, obviously.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Apple has appealed as planned, but they've actually cited a recent US Supreme Court decision on President Trump's Birthright Citizen Directive. Okay, so they're arguing that in the June Supreme Court decision, the Trump versus CASA, C-A-S-A, directly supports its efforts to overturn 2 injunctions issued to it. So since the Supreme Court found in the case that federal judges do not have freestanding authority to issue so-called universal injunctions, Apple arguing that the district court overstepped its authority when it extended its App Store-related remedies to every developer in the US, not just Epic. And I think that's mainly because obviously Epic decided to pursue this by themselves and not on behalf of all developers. So basically the court's decision should only apply to Epic and not all the other developers. Touche, Apple, touche. I was not expecting to see Trump's one in there. But I suppose they kind of have a point. If the courts don't have the ability to make universal sweeping ones for everybody, then surely it shouldn't be only applied to this case, but not to this case. It's all or nothing, surely.
Oh, it's just crazy. And I was reading this through, and I was just going through the Apple's filing information, and it's just legalese, isn't it? It's just lots of legalese.
So I was buzzword bingo, don't we call it in the tech announcements?
I was like, I got bored. I was playing with Copilot within Edge, So I said,
yes, you mentioned,
Edge. Because I use it quite helpful sometimes to do some summarization, when you were looking at a lot of details. It's quite helpful. Just quickly, give me quick talking points for this. So it's great, so I can research faster. So I was like, explain like I'm 5. So it went,
okay.
Here we go. Apple versus Epic, the playground rules fight. Imagine a big playground where Apple owns the slide. If you want to use the slide, you've got to pay Apple a fee. Epic Games didn't like that. And they said, that's not fair. So they went to the teacher, the court, to complain. The teacher said, okay, Apple, you can't charge anyone to use the slide anymore. But Apple said, wait, Epic is the only one who complained. Why are you changing the rules for everyone on the playground? Now Apple is pointing to a new rule from the head teacher, the Supreme Court, that says teachers can only fix problems between the kids who are actually fighting, not change the rules for everyone. So Apple is asking the teacher to undo the big rule change and only deal with Epic's complaint. That's brilliant. That's hilarious.
That pretty much sums it up. That's a good summary. I'll give them that.
I was like, I didn't want to going to tell you earlier. I thought, no, I'm going to wait for that because that's
yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Sometimes the AI is brilliant. It really is.
That was classic. That's pretty good.
It was very good. So it's And then it offered, do you want me to turn this into a comic strip? I was like, okay, maybe.
Sure, go for it.
Yeah. So anyway, talking of AI, ChatGPT Model 5 is now out, isn't it? As of yesterday.
It is. I
Um,
haven't had a chance to try and break it yet.
no, I've gone into ChatGPT. It is there. It basically shows you ChatGPT,
Yep.
or it has the deep thinking mode. Um,
Yep.
and basically you've got other models in the drop down, which is thinking, and that is it. It's fine.
That's it.
It's fine.
Yeah, I've heard it's over a lot more simplified, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because it's
and also
sometimes I sit there looking at this and go, I don't know which one to choose. You tell me.
no, and it was never really clear on what was best, despite their labels. And
Their
also,
numbering, yeah.
well, yeah, tell me about it. There was 3, 4.1. Anyway, that being said, the capability within it now is that you can invoke the deep thinking mode by prompting. So I'd like you to think really hard about this, and
Oh,
it will
okay.
infer
Yep.
that you want it to power up the deep think mode. So it's I think they've got an idea of how to make this work more user friendly. I think
Well,
is the
I
word.
did hear something this morning saying apparently it's got 80% less hallucinations.
Yeah, I saw that as well, and then I saw as much as I hate Twitter, I went online to see what if anyone, because usually, let's be honest, that's where the crud is going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I wanted to see whether or not anybody had broken it, and there was already some people going, show me the fourth word in this sentence, and it was like the fourth word is
Oh, that
the,
one again. Yeah.
and then you look at it, and then it's like, no, that's not right, and there was other ones, so yeah, I think there's still a few errors in it, but I will get to test it. I think in the next week or so, trying to throw some data at it and generation of text and stuff, and see what I get back on it.
Yeah. I have some scenarios I'm going to throw at it. So, yes, I will see if I can break. I'm pretty sure I'll break it. I always seem to. I don't have any luck with the AI.
No, I have to say you are like some kind of, I don't know, there's
Kryptonite
a
to AI.
yeah, I was gonna say that's the right word, isn't it? Definitely, definitely. Anyway,
So,
so
yeah,
then
we'll have a
yes,
play.
Apple are trying to argue with Epic in the court that the court's just a jurisdiction doesn't go beyond that of the existing ruling, and therefore they can't change the rules for everybody else. So we'll
Yeah.
find out what happens on this. I'm sure this has just been filed in the last week or so. So we'll see what happens in the appeals.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right then.
So,
So let's talk
the
about
next.
Nvidia then, and its H20 chips.
Yes. So we have the Cyberspace Administration of China, the CAC.
Great.
They've summoned Nvidia over to Beijing to talk about alleged security issues with its chips. And this has been after Nvidia was obviously Nvidia were banned basically from sending any of their AI chips to China. They were granted approval for to make a made for China version of the H20 chip. So yes, China have cited serious security issues with the company's artificial intelligence chips. Now, that say the CAC, they haven't. This is the other one. They haven't specified which experts they're using or what the backdoors are, but apparently it's to do with apparently Nvidia can locate where these chips are being used and even remotely shut them down. Is
Oh,
what is
this one
being
again. Okay.
alleged. Yeah, no, we heard about this because I think the
Yeah.
US was saying they wanted all exported chips to be able to be tracked, and I think I tried to find it in our notes. And I couldn't find it. But I do remember us talking about it and saying, "Well, what are they going to do? Are they going to put a GPS chip in it? How will it meant to actually track this?" So I don't know whether it's come off the back of that. Now, obviously, Nvidia they are refuting this very strongly, saying it does not have any backdoors in their chips that would give anyone a remote way to access or control them. Hmm.
I let's play devil's advocate here. Is there probably something in these chips that knows exactly where they're being used and what their location is? I'm going to say there probably is.
Probably.
Um, the risk to Nvidia by not complying with the US, not worth it right now, is it? Not worth it.
No,
Is it
exactly.
the proverbial backdoor? That you could stroll on in. I doubt it's that quite. That
Yeah,
this
that would
classic.
be a big step. But yes, maybe that they can see we're using it in China or we're using it in the UK or Germany or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, could they remotely shut the systems down? Don't
I
know.
I just
But I mean, if they could that all just fall into licensing?
Well,
You
yeah,
haven't paid
yeah,
your license, therefore you can't use your hardware.
yeah. You don't need to have a backdoor. We'll just brick it. Like.
Yeah.
I mean, how many companies already do that? And it's not just software companies that there's a lot of hardware that can
Well, like,
be.
how many times I open up the news and like every other month there's some IoT company or some company with an IoT product that's decided they're just not going to do it anymore, and now your expensive devices you paid for and that you were paying a subscription for now just don't work.
No, they're just
But
expensive
I think Belkin was the
paperweights.
latest one that have announced that. They've been running.
Belkin, oh my god, do they still exist?
Yeah, and they've had that. I can't remember what it's called. That's the one I read about recently. They've had home automation platform. I want to say it's We something or other. I can't remember what it's called.
God,
But it's been running for a number of years, probably 4, 5, 6 years. I think they got early in the game and then just didn't really go anywhere. But they've still kept adding small amounts of products. But they've just decided that they're turning off all the online services, and basically, yeah, your products will carry on working as long as you don't need to add them to a different system or change anything.
God,
So
I
yeah, all that money you spent would just It's not like okay, we give Google crap for the amount of products they shut down. They rightfully deserve that. But generally, when Google shuts something down, they usually give you your money back, don't they?
well, yeah,
Quite often
usually,
they say,
yeah,
"Look, all right, here's your money back.
yeah.
This
We're not.
this beta test didn't work out. What do you
Yeah,
mean it was a beta test? It's been
this
running for
beta test,
6 years,
yeah, as I said, been running for 6 years, and I've bought several iterations of the product because you keep
but it
giving
was
it
still
to
a
me.
beta test. Yeah, everything
Yeah,
with Google is a beta test. But
yeah.
Belkin obviously aren't giving anyone their money back.
No, no, they're not.
Tough crap. Yeah, you know what I mean? Tough.
Oh my god, yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think China probably got some concerns here. Let's be honest, because this is a domestic market chip, isn't it, for
Yes,
them?
I would imagine so.
And also, you've got other companies in the Chinese market that we know that, particularly Huawei, are trying to localize the supply
Yeah.
chains, aren't they? They're trying to basically pull everything back into the country. And you know what? The problem is, I was listening to a military podcast the other day that was talking about China, and
Hmm.
they were saying about getting ahead of it in AI and software. And
Yeah.
one of the guests on the podcast was a US general who runs Future Command, and he was like, "No, I bet on the US." He's like, top 5 of the top software companies in the world are US based and data. And I thought to myself, yeah, you're right, they are. And he's saying, yeah, but capitalism always wins out. It does. But the argument with that is that China can force things, can't they? They don't
Yes,
have to
they
worry
can.
about the market pressure. They're not worried about their shareholders because ultimately, if they want that to move into an intelligent military capability, they'll do it. So I think, this is just a small hurdle, and China is probably just saber rattling here to say, look, if you're going to play silly games, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
you may have
let's
the
be honest,
top tech, but we build it for you. So
yeah,
what if we
exactly.
stop?
And also,
It's no good having the
you
best
see,
tech you can't build.
well, yeah, and let's be honest, they are, Taiwan. Just to, they don't
Yeah, I
just
was saying we
threaten
could
anything.
just quickly annex Taiwan.
Which, let's be honest, they're threatening to do anyway, aren't they? They
Yeah, we won't build it. That leaves
no,
India, and India are going to charge you a premium for this now, being the only people left that can build it.
yeah. So it's just a bit like be careful what you're playing with here, isn't it?
Yeah. Now look, back to the kind of H20 chip. Obviously, there's a H20 chip for the rest of the world, and there's a
Yeah,
one for China. Like we have like in the gaming CPUs, we have a 5090 and we have a 5090D, which is the Chinese variant. So I'm wondering what's actually different hardware wise. I think like on the 5090D, they've cut down some of the AI, what they call it in the gaming market, the AI chip bits within it. It doesn't have as many.
so
But
basically they're binned,
if the
aren't
game
they?
doesn't rely on AI, then you're fine. You still basically got a full 5090.
Yeah, they're basically just a binned version of, aren't they? Really, it's a bit like in the CPU world. It's
Yeah,
it's
that's
ones
exactly
that.
it. Yeah. So, do we think Nvidia's gone out of its way to build a new chip with some backdoors in at the hardware level?
I doubt, to be honest with
I
you.
doubt, but I don't know. In the US, do they have those ones where you can be given an order and you're not allowed to talk about it, like in the UK?
Very likely, very likely.
Probably.
Yeah, I think it's all right saying increased purchases. China's telling the market to buy local, but the problem is though, unless these things don't get invented overnight, do they?
No, no, no.
And I look, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, China doesn't have the companies that can make this. They do. I'm
They do.
sure they absolutely do, and they've certainly got the brain power, person power, sorry, to do that. So
Yep.
I'm not going to sit here and be all bullish and be like, well, they'll never make it. They will do it. The difference is they haven't got the deep years of experience, I think, in
Yeah.
production
So it's
to
only a
ramp that
matter of
up.
time.
Yeah, and that's the thing, isn't it? When you look at if tomorrow Taiwan was to be annexed, the problem with that um, is you couldn't just spin that up in the US overnight. And we've talked about this at length,
All that.
particularly
Yeah. Yes.
with these fabs that have been built, because it takes years to build and
Well, yeah. I think
enable it.
we were talking the other day, weren't we? Because Apple and other companies has Apple just agreed 600 billion investment in the US to
Yeah,
build iPhones, not make
no,
iPhones. Because the whole
yeah,
thing
that's
with Trump has now changed from make to build, hasn't it? Because I think finally he might have realised that we can't actually make the stuff here, or not for another 10 years or whatever it's going to be. But he can just change that word slightly from to build, and it's still US, isn't it? Then he kind of wins, even though he hasn't really won.
it just makes me chuckle. It's just like, what was it? The thing he had yesterday, wasn't it? It was yesterday before, when we were talking about it was Apple and India, wasn't it? And he's just levied massive tariffs on India, isn't he? Because of the
Yeah,
fact that they're buying Russian oil. So he's really annoyed about that. And he's
yeah.
saying that if you're manufacturing anything in India, you'll be impacted by that. And amazingly, Apple have managed to do some major deal, haven't they? Where they now
If you
have,
invest in the US by building, not
yeah.
making, then you won't have the tariffs for the bits you have from India.
I was like, brilliant. So they managed to
I
do
see.
this.
They bought them that golden glass thing, didn't they? Made in the
Yeah,
US.
yeah, and it was
Yeah,
like, and now that
actually made, not built. Made in the
no,
US with US glass and US gold
and
and a US person, I presume.
they're exempt from the additional 50% or whatever it is tariff, isn't it, on top?
Yeah,
I thought very smart. Tim Cook played a blinder.
you bought him the shiny gold thing to
Yeah,
keep him entertained.
yeah, well done, absolutely well done. Bring the child a toy, and he's very happy.
Yeah, hats off, hats off.
Hats off.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah,
we digress.
talking. We did, but kind of in the same vein. The next story is really about TSMC.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
they've actually accused several. Well, they weren't former employees at the time. They are now former employees of attempting to
Yeah,
steal
they were.
trade secrets related to their advanced 2 nanometer cough chip process. This is the process we're expecting to see the A20 chips for the iPhone 18 range, which is next year's iPhones. But apparently they detected unauthorized activities during routine monitoring, leading to a discovery of potential trade secret leaks. And obviously took strict disciplinary actions against the personnel involved and initiated legal proceedings. Now, the Taiwanese government don't look kindly on this kind of thing, do they?
No,
They take it
no.
extremely seriously. This is their thing, advanced processor technology.
Well, their whole industry, isn't it? High tech industry
Yeah,
is
it's
CPUs and
built around
silicon.
silicon. Yeah, they take this extremely seriously. So I suspect the legal proceedings might not end well for those ex employees.
No, and I think this is the worry, isn't it? That if you who is stealing it, and where are you taking it? And it's but in this world, you aren't going to get very far, are you?
No.
And it's wasn't it? There was also turns out that the motive may have been something to do to a Japanese company, wasn't it, with ties to TSMC, Tokyo Electron Limited.
Okay.
Apparently fired a local employee at its Taipei unit. Say that they were cooperating with the ongoing investigation, but they unsure if any data would be shared with third parties. I mean,
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
the Japanese, excuse me. Obviously, their industry is still very high tech, but it's not as high tech as it was 30 years ago, is it? The
No, because 30
Japanese.
years ago they were Taiwan.
Yeah,
They
they
were
were.
leading it. Yeah,
They were
that
high.
was their thing. They did all the high tech. If you said it was made in Japan or Japanese, you're like, get a quality bit of high tech kit here,
Well, if you go
cutting
back
edge.
to this, if you go back to the 70s and the transistor, the rise of the transistor, it was Japanese companies that worked out how to make these into viable consumer products. And a good example of that is Sony. Sony made rice cookers,
Yeah,
and then they
yeah.
came out with the transistor radio, which turned the market on its head and
And the
moved forward.
Walkman.
Yeah, and you think about all those small consumer electronic products, they were Japanese. They weren't American, they were
Yeah, of course they were.
Japanese.
Yeah.
And and I think as you say, the world has moved on, and Japanese electronics are still very high end, of course, but they're not, I would say, the market leaders in terms of the development of the underlying chips and the
Yeah,
underlying
yeah.
fabrication of it. Let's be honest. Sony still make great TVs. They still make great. Other companies make great electronics, but the chips, as you say, that technology has been built in Taiwan and designed in Taiwan by companies
Yeah.
like TSMC. So yeah, look, this is not going to be taken well. Apple, I'm sure, would also behind the scenes be wanting to ensure that legal action is taken. And again, as we said, it's not 2 nanometer; it's actually 44 nanometer, isn't it? I think, isn't it? Isn't that right?
Something stupid like that. You're like,
I
it's
think
way
it's. I
off
think
too,
it's.
isn't it?
What was it? There's two things. There's the gate pitch, isn't there, and the metal pitch or something. And one of them is quite a high number. But
Yeah.
well, let's not get into that right now.
No. So, but yeah, interesting to see how that one plays out. But yeah, like you were saying, you can't really just steal that. So, if Huawei, for example, and I'm not saying it is, just suddenly turns up,
Yeah, you
in 6 months' time, saying we've now got 2 nanometer advanced technology, you'd be like,
really.
that's who stole it.
Yeah, but the other thing is, it's a bit like I don't know, trying to steal the Hope Diamond. It's
Yeah.
so big. If that turned up somewhere, you'd be like, "That looks like the Hope." Nope, no, we found it the other week. We
No,
dug it up.
no,
You know.
exactly. Yeah. But it's the same shape, exact diameter. Just a coincidence.
Yeah, and this is the thing, isn't it? That a lot of these massively important bits of tech, um, it's a bit, it's a good analogy. It's like selling. It's like trying to steal fine art, isn't it? You couldn't just appear it somewhere else because you'd be like, well, where did that come from?
No.
Yeah, it's got to be done differently. So, don't get me wrong, industrial espionage clearly goes on still. It hasn't
Of
disappeared,
course, definitely.
but you've got to be very careful around how
Especially
you're
when there's
dealing
only
with
one
it.
company in the world that does that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, then. So let's talk about the rumor that isn't a rumor anymore, then, which is the
Yes,
iPhone
the
Fold.
iPhone Fold, my next phone, hopefully. We'll see.
Ugh.
But yeah, as you mentioned, we don't think it's a rumor anymore. It's pretty much it's coming, especially when someone like JP Morgan is now talking about it. One of the analysts, Samik Chatterjee, not much info, but he's now saying, yep, it's confirmed. September 2026 is what we were speculating. But the big bit, cheaper than expected. So
Well, that depends
always
on
good
your.
for me.
Hang on a minute. I was going to say that makes me chuckle when you said that. Like cheaper than expected. Well, that depends on your opinion on what
Well,
is
my
cheaper.
expectations were good. It was going to be over $2,000,
Okay.
and I think everyone was kind of surmising someone between 2,100 and 2,300 starting price for whatever the base model may be. But Samek is now saying $1,999 starting price. It's quite a bit
No,
cheaper.
well, yeah. I'll be fair. For what is going
It's
to be
not
a flagship.
cheap. It's cheaper.
No, what is a flagship device? So,
Yeah, I mean, what did we pay for our? What have we got? We got 16s, haven't we? No,
yeah,
50,
16
16s.
Pros.
I,
Yeah,
I I must have paid £1,400 somewhere around that. I
yeah,
can't
512
quite
model. Yeah.
remember. And I paid probably close to 700, or maybe more than that for my iPad Mini. I
But
mean, that's basically a phone and iPad Mini together, but in
are we
one convenient package.
are we saying though that this is going to be a standard storage size?
Yeah, I mean, what's starting? What do we start with now on the iPhones? 256 on the Pros?
Yeah. So I'm thinking this has got to be at least 512 minimum.
Yeah, I would not see anything less than 256. No, yeah, 512.
Well, you're saying it's a middle of the road device, so I'm thinking if it's going to try and
Well,
sit.
the indicator I think will be what is the new base in the Pros phones this year? Is it 256? Is it 512?
I think they'll stick with 256 personally.
See, I have a feeling that I think the starting on this fold will be 256. Apple takes forever to up the base storage on things.
Well, yeah, because for them storage is some kind of magical moneymaker, isn't it?
And it's the most expensive best storage in the world.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah, I reckon 256. I'm gonna have to upgrade to 512. So if that starting price is true, it will not be the price I'm paying.
No. But look, it's coming. I think we're all kind of in agreement now. This is a real device that is coming. Whether it'll be quite the specs that bound around and this the pricing. I think if people like JP Morgan are looking at it from a pricing perspective, the market must be quite confident that it is going to come, and they're going to base that on obviously not the company valuation, but it's going to be, isn't it, around if you're looking to buy stock, well, Apple, could be a good bet because next year, they're going to release this new flagship device.
Exactly, yeah.
Because let's be honest, the stock market's the most fickle thing known to man, isn't it?
Oh, we know that personally just recently, don't we?
Well, yes, I'm not going to state why, but yeah, you're
We've
right.
taken a beating.
Yeah, I mean, Apple on the other hand, Apple do the same. Apple dump $100 billion into a quarter, and you're like, oh my god, and the market's gone, could have done better. You're like, nobody else is making this much money.
This is insane. Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I can never understand the stock market. It's just, I don't know.
I do not profess to have any understanding of how it really works. And I know that sounds a little childish, naive, but it's true. I get the concept of a stock market. I just don't understand market forces because what seems like a really good, wow, that company should be doing really well, is then treated like, no, you're right. And it's such a herd effect, isn't it? Like if you get a spook in the market of something, a whisper of something, it's like spooking a herd of buffalo. They all run in one direction, isn't it? You're like,
yeah.
why are you all
It's
scared?
a while to get them back under control, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like, what are you all scared for? There's just a small mouse on the floor,
You're a buffalo.
So-
you could just stand on it.
Yeah, I know. So it just makes me chuckle in that respect. But
yeah, definitely. Right.
All right, then.
Rumor mill time.
all right then, come on, tell me about your Apple glasses.
So Apple may be kind of accelerating, or well, as I say, aggressively accelerating its smart glasses project. I think we talked about this. What did we talk about? It's back in July, I think.
Yeah, I think
We had
it
a
was
little
around that
update on the
time.
roadmap of all the glasses-based and VR-based products, didn't we? I think we were saying for their smart glasses, maybe 2027. They're now saying this is going to launch before the end of 2026. But it's not the AR glasses that we're kind of hoping for. These are the AI glasses. This is where they are standard glasses, but they have a chip in it, microphone, webcam, I presume, that then can see what's around you, and you can use AI to interact with them, much like Meta's. Is it the smart Ray-Bans or whatever they call them?
Yes, the Ray-Ban collaboration, isn't it? Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Do they actually have a screen in them, or is it all audio based?
I think a lot of it's audio based, isn't it? I don't know if they.
Yeah, I
have
wonder if
got
they have a
screen.
small screen in the bottom left or right, top right, or whatever that you can see some kind of information displayed on it. Obviously, not true AR where you're putting stuff actually in field of view.
Yeah, I think I don't know if they do. Do they? Do they have a screen in them, or does it?
Yeah, I'm really not sure on that one.
I don't know if they do project anything. Do they? I think they.
It's just
Because they're about the same size, aren't they? They're sort of a pair of Ray-Bans, but they're kind of more classic sunglasses as opposed to aviators or anything like that, are they? And I think I don't know. I'm trying to think. There is a camera in them at the front, isn't there? I know that.
Yeah.
Recall.
A microphone.
Yeah. And I think the camera is like 12 megapixel camera. It just takes pictures of what you can see. So yeah, I don't know if there is much beyond that, as you say, beyond the lenses. I don't know.
I don't know. On their site now.
It's not clear on what they do actually beyond.
Discover Ray-Ban.
I think it's more the AI. I think the way they work, and my understanding is it leverages the Meta AI to say, what am I looking at, or tell me this, or answer some,
there's no display in that. It's all
no. As you say, it's visual, in sense of you provide visual.
Yeah,
images.
You point a camera on your face. You point it at whatever you're looking at. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, not my cup of tea. I want some actual display. I want the AR glasses, not the AI glasses, because I'm sure the AR glasses also can have AI in them.
Must do, surely. But let's be honest. If Apple do this, it won't be like the Meta ones. There'll be some kind of overlay, surely. I can imagine, especially with the glass. There'll be some kind of display built within that glass.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, why do you need them over a phone? I can get my phone out and point it at what I want and ask it about stuff. Or allegedly, I'll be able to at some point when it comes out.
I know what you're saying, but if think about it right though, you don't want to have your phone out all the time. But if you've got your glasses and you can look at something and you're just looking around and or you're walking along.
But are we not just coming back to the glass hole effect here?
Yeah, but I think they were too early, weren't they? I think everybody agrees. The problem is Google, despite the tech was too early.
I still feel uncomfortable. If I was chatting to someone and they had basically a camera pointing at my face the entire time, I'd be like, "Ooh, yeah, I don't know. Careful what I say now." And yeah,
Well,
yeah, no,
the world we live in, I mean, is beyond. It's a weird one anyway, isn't it? So in
yeah,
terms of what we see, cameras you talk about cameras. There's cameras everywhere at the moment, isn't there? You think about it. I was watching what's that program on caught on dash cam, the cars.
yeah, yeah,
You think to yourself now, like, how many cars have got dash cams in them?
yeah.
It's so I know what you're saying. I
I
know
think
what you're saying though.
I think there's a difference between those cameras that like CCTV in your car than one pointing directly at your face when you're trying to have a potentially intimate conversation with someone or a person conversation. You know what I mean? I think it'd make you a bit more guarded and not
Yeah.
natural when you're talking to someone.
No, I think but I guess that'll be a change in people's behaviour on it as these things become more
I'm going to
prevalent.
be that angry old man that shouts at the sky.
Maybe so. But
Maybe
I mean,
so.
look, Apple. Let's be honest, and Apple have always been very, very clear. They're not always first to market, were they?
No.
And it was. I remember hearing some of the day there was apparently there was a leaked conversation that was had at Apple where they talked about AI, and apparently Tim Cook got up on stage and said, "Look, Apple has never been first to market," or it might be Craig Federighi, one of the two said, I can't remember now, saying there was a PC before there was a Mac, there was this before that, there was MP3 players before there was the iPod, there was phones before there was the iPhone,
Yeah.
and he's got a point. And I think this is with Apple. Apple don't necessarily want to be first to market, do they? Many times,
No.
but they want to own that market by destroying the competition and overcoming all of the limitations and mistakes that competitors have done. And
Yeah.
whilst the Vision Pro, which we'll talk about in a second, may not be the setting the world alight, when you compare what it does and the experience to other VR headsets, it's light years ahead, isn't it? Really?
You can't talk about that. We've never tried it. Allegedly,
No,
is
but
the word.
it's
But yeah, I know
spec
you.
wise, I guess, and
I was
capability.
joking. Yeah.
And okay, I'll throw another way. Where are the really competitive Android tablets?
Oh god, there aren't any.
When you think of
Well,
a
no, there is
tablet
hardware
device,
wise. No, I know. I'll take that back. There is hardware wise.
okay, but
Samsung
when
makes
you
some
think,
very nice hardware. It's the software that lets it down.
when you think of a tablet device today, you think iPad.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And one of my kids has an Android one. The kids don't have. One of my kids has an iPad because he's an older one, but the others we have a shared iPad. Older iPads we don't need anymore. We just turn them into family devices.
Yeah.
But my daughter has an Android device. It was one of those the larger Kindle Fire HDs or whatever they call it.
Yeah. My two youngest have got them.
But they call it an iPad. Where's my iPad? It's not an iPad. It's an Android. No, it's my iPad.
So we have the same thing. So my oldest two have got iPads. Their older ones are Gen 9s, whatever, from about 4 years ago. And they say the younger two have got the 10-inch Kindle,
I think that's what my daughter's got. Yeah.
With the rubber case, that basically that thing. If that thing didn't come with a rubber case, I tell you, it's the best.
Oh, my daughter's older, she doesn't need it, but I think it's the same tablet. Yeah.
Yeah, but so they're getting a bit. It's getting a bit long in the tooth. And there's some limitations on the apps there. And to be honest with you, it's getting to the point soon where I may have to change it out because it just doesn't have the same applications. But anyway, yeah, you're right. Exactly the same point. You're right. They still call it an iPad because they think every tablet is an iPad.
Yes. Yeah.
And that kids one, don't get me wrong, the kids one's very good at. Amazon do a great job of what's it, Kindle Kids or whatever, Amazon Kids, whatever they call it, which makes that a really safe environment. And I wish Apple would invent something similar. I wish Apple would invent a walled garden application the same as Amazon Kids that you can install on an iPad based or by them that does exactly the same, and only locks the store down into kids only apps or things like that, and they can't install stuff. I think if Apple did that, and I know you could argue, well, it got screen time. It's not the same, is it? It's not the same. This, on those Kindles,
a bit buggy. I must admit, Apple is the best more time in screen time.
And those Kindles, you go into it, you turn it on, and it goes into kids mode, doesn't it? And it just is. It does what it says on the tin. I have to say. Anyway, right. Vision Pro 2. Let's talk about that.
Yes. So we compete. Yes, different stories on this. So Ming Chiu,
Ming Chi
I'm just
Kuo.
that's the one. I did not want to work today. He's very adamant to get an M5 processor in the Vision Pro 2, whereas Mark Gurman is M4.
Yeah, and this is kind of weird, isn't it? Because you got to think to yourself, it's not like one of them here is known for being
Wrong.
a wrong. They're both consistently right, and Michin Kuo is the Apple analyst, isn't he? When you
He
talk
is,
about
yes.
Apple leaks or stories, it's Michin Kuo. His name is
Yeah.
synonymous with it. But on the other hand, Gurman, true, Gurman's there, but Gurman has been wrong. But I guess with Gurman, he's never framed it as being wrong, is he? It's just
No, no, no,
absolutely,
no. He will never admit he's wrong.
things have just changed, or Apple have had a different direction. But yeah, you're right. They're arguing that the chip is coming along. There's going to be a brand new R1 chip inside it. And then
Whatever it
either
is, I
the
mean, the current one's got an M2, hasn't it? So it's going to be an upgrade.
Oh god, yeah, definitely be an upgrade.
Yeah.
I would argue that M5 may be the way to do it because I think Apple are still pursuing the TikTok motion.
Yeah.
Um, but actually saying that though, my M2 Pro, I think. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Apple's don't do this the TikTok like Apple that Intel did they? Where that goes,
No. Oh, no,
lower
no.
version. What they
Intel
do,
don't do the TikTok anymore. Not like that.
but I think what Apple have done is that the Pro chips typically leapfrog
Yeah.
the different versions because we've seen that, haven't we? Where some of the you get a better performance, kind of almost a generation later. So
Yeah.
I would argue that M5 probably seems more plausible. They went and put an M4 in the iPads, didn't they? Which we didn't expect them to
Well,
do
we're
so
expecting an
quickly.
M5 iPad Pro shortly.
So yeah, I think I would imagine it would probably make sense that they would put an M5 in it because if that's what will be the baseline on an iPad, why wouldn't you want to do that? It'll be a smaller. It's going to definitely be a smaller sock, isn't it? I'm imagining more
More, even more
efficiency in the
power
battery
efficient. Yeah.
life. So yeah, it would make sense there. The other thing is apparently that there is the rumors on the waiters bit as well, isn't there?
Yes, yes. I mean,
Because
yeah, the Vision Pro is a chunky boy.
it is, and
Um,
there's so many aftermarket head straps that people have created, isn't
there
it? That you
are.
can
But you
buy.
get other ones. I've got a Quest 2, and I don't use the one that was clearly in the box because it's a bit crap. I went and bought a decent over the top of the head
Oh
strap.
yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
a lot of people do, and apparently Apple will be including one of those now, won't they? A new over the head one because I think the one in the box just goes around your head and not over the top, does it?
No, and you've got to balance that weight. If you're playing, if you're in a long session with these things, which is what they want you to be doing,
Yeah.
then then they're going to make it have to balance that weight out. So yeah, there is rumored to be a lightweight model coming, but not for another 2 years. So the Vision Pro 2, according to Bloomberg, will have this new strap on it that will reduce some of the strain and balance the weight out a bit more.
Yeah.
Again, no visuals at the moment. It's just on the rumor mill. But the other one then is this neural engine, isn't it? They're talking about to upgrade for the
Yeah.
AI,
Many
which
more cores, but it wasn't clear whether this is more cores because we're going to an M4 or M5 and they naturally have more cores than the M2, or whether this is a special kind of derivative of the chip that has many more AI cores because of what it needs to do.
yeah, the AI elements have been it's something we need to go. We haven't really considered too much of the AI elements here because the lack of decent shoes should not be mentioned has been a concern, and I think if they can improve that and
But
build
you
that,
also, on the Vision, you also use the AI for visual identification and stuff like that for all the seeing part of the experience,
yeah, true, yeah, that's right, yeah,
not
with the
just
AR
voice
capabilities.
interaction
No,
and
so
do so.
you're
So
gonna want to improve that definitely.
yeah, this is a product that uses a lot of visual intelligence, should we say, to analyze the environment you're in.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's be put it on the cards on the table. The reality is, if you're going to get an M5 and the R1 chips, why wouldn't they upgrade the neural engines?
Yeah, yeah. I'm just wondering if
Just makes no
it's
sense.
more of an upgrade than on what you'd get in a normal M5. Is it a
I think the
special
argument here,
M5?
yeah, is the cost element's going to be the key here, and is the cost element going to give you enough bang for buck that people who have already paid and bought into the ecosystem and enjoy using it, because there are a lot of people who do.
Yeah.
Then are you going to get? Is it going to be worth an upgrade? That is the
Don't
crucial
know on
question, I
that
think.
one. Great for new users coming into it, but is it enough of an upsell for someone who's
But
only
can
spent
they
three
lower
and
the
a half
price point?
grand on the first one? No,
Can
I
they
don't think
lower
they'll
the
be
price
lowering
point?
it this time.
Yeah, that's for me. That's the crux for me. That is going to make or break. I think whether or not this becomes
This
more of
is
a
the
mainstream
Pro.
device.
For a price, you're gonna have to go for the Vision Lite or whatever they're gonna Air or whatever they'll call it, the cheaper one.
Time is going to tell on this one. I think.
I mean, you got tariffs coming. It might even be a more expensive device.
Maybe I should buy a second-hand one off eBay. Probably
Maybe.
twice
What are
the
they going
price.
for now? £2 probably still.
Oh, easily. Got to be in it.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Yeah. Other stuff, non-Apple stuff. Rumors.
Oh,
AMD.
AMD.
Yeah, so they bailed out of the high end with this generation of chips, didn't
Yeah, it
they?
was more middle
Well,
road,
not
wasn't it?
CPUs, obviously, still in the back there, but for gaming
Yeah,
GPUs, they
yeah.
kind of went, we're just going to concentrate on middle of the road, low end. Nvidia can have the high end. But it seems they've changed their tune a little bit, and they will, for their next generation, be concentrating on kind of the ultra high end, the gamer GPUs. Not that they're not doing gamer GPUs already. But yeah, this rumor's come from a YouTube channel called Moore's Law is Dead, quoting people in the know.
I
So
love that. I
take
love
that
that.
with a giant
Yeah,
pinch of
in the
salt.
know.
In the
Yeah.
know. But apparently they are saying we're going to get 2 new GPUs to go up against Nvidia's next generation 6000 series. So this is probably a year or two away still. But we're going to get the codename AT0, which is the beast. So this is the big daddy taking aim at what would probably be a 6090.
I like this. The big daddy
The
one.
big daddy. Yeah, taking aim at that 6090. So we are apparently going to get 154 RDNA 5 compute units, or whatever they call RDNA 5 at that point. So AMD's current top GPU, the 9070 XT, only has 64 RDNA 4 based compute units. So this should nearly a tripling, and then based on new technology. A whopping 36 gig of GDR7 on a 384-bit memory bus. Fair amount of VRAM going on there.
It's quite. This is frustrating, given what we were talking about at the start of the podcast.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, don't tell me this.
There's 4 more than Nvidia's top of the range one currently.
Yeah, but again, no real view on when it's coming, is it, or anything like that? So.
No. I mean, that's interesting to see that they'll hopefully bring out one that actually competes with the 69 and give people some choice. Might even drive down price a bit, which would be lovely. But the next one, I think, is the more interesting, your mainstream gamer. So the AT2. So this is apparently going to be similar to the current 9070 XT, but based on obviously RDNA 5, so new processors, new capabilities, but higher clock rates. Going to have 16 gig of VRAM. Obviously using the faster GDR7. Apparently going to go toe-to-toe with a 5080, 6080 kind of level performance.
Nice.
But for $550. About half
that,
the price of the current 5080.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. But then I look at market forces and
you don't want to buy one at 550.
No, that's what I was going to say.
The RRP.
That's great. I mean, but let's just look at Nvidia for just 2 seconds and the cost of those cards, and we know we're still feeling the knock on from COVID. I think I really do think we are with Nvidia.
No, I think Nvidia just taking the P.
Well, I mean, what were we looking at earlier? How much was that? 13? Well, what was it the 3090 on eBay? It was still what, 1,600 quid, wasn't it?
Oh, the 4090, yeah, the second-hand
4090. Sorry, 4090.
1,600, a minimum of 1,600. I've been looking at those ones for a while, thinking, oh, maybe it'd be cheaper than the 5090, but not really. I mean, if I can go and buy a Founders Edition 5090 for 1,800, then why would I spend 1,600 plus, or even more? Some of them are up to £2,000 or more on a 4090. It's madness.
But also you've got the 5070s that you can buy. Was it the 5070 Ti? We were saying you can buy for about £600 or so, roughly speaking.
Yeah.
You go to eBay and people are selling them from kind of an average price of 700 plus. What's going on?
eBay's a very weird place at times.
The days of cheap bargains are gone.
They're not there. I mean, as we were saying, even the 3090s, weren't they? I mean, I bought a second-hand 3090, and I got a deal at the time. I waited a long time to get one that I thought was a good price. And I think I paid around $650 for it. And this was a good 2.5 years ago, maybe. They're still going for £500-600 on eBay. I'm like, what? I could sell it for more or less the same price I bought it after using it for 2.5 years.
It's a real tough one, isn't it? On that,
Yeah.
It's about choices, as I keep telling one of my children. Choices and consequences.
Consequences. I choose to buy it. I'm a broke man.
Yeah, well, choices. Yeah, but I've got a dilemma of like, am I thinking about buying a 5070 Ti, 16 gig of VRAM, or for the same money, roughly speaking, a 3090 with 24 gig of VRAM? And whilst the VRAM is awesome, I kind of think, yeah, but the actual grunt of the card, it's a real tough one.
You have to remember the 3090s. They are like the 4090s and the 5090s. They have a lot more performance than the one below. They're like what used to be the Titan cards or whatever they were, the monster ones. So yeah, it's older tech, but is that will that make that much of a difference depending on the games you're playing?
Well, that is the $64,000.
Lots of research needed.
Yeah, and the problem is that's a rabbit hole I'm struggling. I don't want to go down,
Yeah, tricky.
Well, on that note, that's probably a good place for us to wrap up for today. We'll be back next week with all of the latest tech news and stories. And in fact, next week is our season break, isn't it? We're gonna have episode next week, and then we're going to probably have, is it 2-week break or 1 week? I can never remember.
It's a 2-week. Yes, I am off 2 weeks.
We're on a 2-week break, so we will return. Normal service will resume the week of the 25th. We'll have a podcast episode out the week of the 25th, towards the end of that week.
Yeah.
So we'll have a 2-week break over that. We're not going anywhere. We're still here. We're just having that summer break. So of course you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, obviously including on YouTube. Tell your friends about us. If there's something you want to say or we've got something really wrong, drop us a comment. We're always open to hearing those suggestions. So with that, I've been Jay.
I've been Karl. Have a good one all.